Thank you guys for tuning into the show Bones. I have my dear friend, my sister right here, y'all, Miss Naomi Hall. This my fault. First of all, this is episode 1. I guess we can say season. Why not say season 1?
Season 1, claim it.
Hey, that's it, y'all. I'm so excited to be here with Miss Naomi, y'all. I think we've known each other for what, 4 going
on 5 years.
5 years, y'all.
First time.
Excuse me. This is the first time we have sat down and talked. Now, I'm going to tell y'all this right now. She has so much stuff going on. Every time I see her on Facebook, on Instagram, it's always something. But the best thing about it, though, it's like, it's not always just her stuff. Like, she's always promoting other people. Anytime I have something going on, she's like, commenting everybody's name. I'm like, good Lord, how many people you know, first of all? Like, Jesus. So I said all of that to say, I'm so excited about this new show, Bones, and thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Episode 1, Miss Naomi Hall. The show, Bones, is about entrepreneurs doing amazing things in their businesses, in their communities, and of course, in their lives. So I'm going to let Naomi introduce herself and all that she has, whatever she has going on. And make sure you plug in, like, social media, events that you got. She always got events going on, y'all.
Yes.
And I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. I am Naomi Hall. I am a mother. I am a wife. I am a singer. I'm a philanthropist. I'm also an event planner. And what I'm most excited about is something I have going on, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit later. It's called the Release Party, something I've been doing for 7 years. But like I said, I'm going to talk about it more later on. I'm also a volunteer. I love to be plugged into the community. I am a cheerer, meaning that I also encourage everybody else to do what they need to do. And I like to say that I am excitedly a performance art director over at Trinity Christian Center. I love doing that.
Plug that in real quick.
Yeah,
Trinity Christian
Center. I do a lot. But most importantly, also I want to say that I'm a motivational speaker. So if you ever have an event you want me to come speak at, reach out to me. We'll get to that later on.
Make sure y'all do that. And before we get into the juice of the show, you guys, I want to make sure that y'all subscribe to the channel, like, share, comment, all of that good stuff. And again, thank y'all for taking the time out just to watch and hear what we have to talk about, because there are millions of things that y'all could be doing and watching right now, but y'all watching us. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. The first thing I want to know, Naomi, is how in the world did you get to where you are now? I know that's like a whole slew of stuff, but what would you say were the main 2 things that caught your attention and say, you know what, this is my passion? For example, singing, working with kids in the creative industry. What were the main things that you said, yo, this is it, like, this is what I need to be doing?
There are 2 main things: realizing where I was and realizing what I wanted in the world. Because a lot of times you realize where you are, but you do nothing about it. You look in the mirror and say, hey, I want to change this about myself, but you never even change it. A lot of people set New Year's Eve or New Year resolutions, never even get to them. A lot of people write down their 5-year plan, never ever get to it. And then 5 years come and then they're like, oh my God, what have I done with my life? What's going on in my life? It's because you never was even active in the first place. You never believed in yourself. And a lot of times people say, well, why isn't there a community center here? Or why are there children on the side of the street? Why isn't nobody, taking out time with their children? You have to be the change that you want to see. Gandhi said it perfectly. Be the change that you want to see, because if you aren't, nobody's ever going to do it. You were created to do that one thing you have passion for. And I know that I was created on this earth to do the one thing that God has created me for, and that's to love on people. Now, there's different ways that I love on people, whether it's, working with the children or singing, creating an event that's like a community initiative. I've done work with Chick-fil-A, I've done work with Kim Newton, I've done work with Charlotte Housing Authority, I've done work with the Urban Men's Center. They changed their name. But anyway, you just got to plug yourself into where you best fit and go with your craft. what got me here is more so of realizing that I didn't like who I was. I didn't like where my life was headed. I did not like what I would become. Growing up, it was a single parent home. We were homeless. We lived in a homeless shelter. It was called the Plaza Place. And I knew that I did not want to be there anymore. You can easily get there. You're always one paycheck away. So you have to be your own boss. You really have to be your own boss. And sometimes even when you're your own boss, you still end up broke.
Hello.
But you have to have a mindset of more, of greater, of higher. Because if you don't elevate yourself, you'll be the same average person, and you don't want to live your life as an average person, because if you think average, you're going to be average. Being in a homeless shelter and then seeing other kids that have parents that have them in homes that are like transitional homes, things like that, that was the like trigger for me, like, hey, you got to let these kids know that there's hope, because we have a lot of suicide rates for kids. And for me, at age 11, I was suicidal. So to know what I went through and to push through it, it's my charge to encourage other children to push through it. It's my charge to encourage other women to be higher than what they're thinking. My reality hit me when I actually got hit. In 2012, going into 2015, I was in an abusive relationship. So then it hit me like, what am I doing with my life? I'm so much better, so much greater. I have so much more prepared for me. So that's, I think, when reality hit and when the physical hit, then it's like, okay, I'm so much better. I gotta get this out here. I gotta move ahead. I gotta move forward. I gotta move ahead. I gotta reach as many people I can reach as I'm alive, while I'm alive. And that's what it is, really realization of where I was and where I wanted to be. That's all it took for me. Now, it may not take that for everybody else, but there has to be an urgency in your life.
I think that is so important. And like you said, everyone's reality hits differently. Everybody doesn't go through the same situations, but you have to know when life is like, yo, hey, you need to get with the program. Like, what you're doing right now is not working, and it's not where you need to be. And I think sometimes people, they get kind of caught in this trap of their circumstances, in their situations, and they don't really know how to get out of it. Even that, having those mentors now, like you went through that situation, and now you're able to help other people get through it. And I feel like that's why we go through the things that we do, because now we are able to be empathetic towards people, because we know personally how it feels, and we can reach out to other people, you know.
And to piggyback on that too, also I think a moment of like realization came when I didn't have $100 to pay a light bill, and my lights were turned off. Like my lights were turned. Like, my lights were turned off? Like, oh, no. And I was working a 9 to 5. I was working a 9 to 5. I was, going and putting in my time, working for somebody else, and not truly putting into my true potential, and not living my dream, not tapping into my true gifts. And then I was like, wait a minute, I'm sitting in the dark, but I'm also sitting in the dark mentally, so I need to move forward and get on with it. So.
And even the financial aspect of everything, of course, this show is about entrepreneurs too, and being an entrepreneur, sometimes you have to learn how to manage those finances. And it's like that realization financially, it's like, okay, to be honest, how you think about things is also a reflection in your finances. And sometimes we get a little bit burdened because maybe we were never taught about finances. And even having a 9 to 5 job, okay, you have a steady paycheck coming in, but you don't really know how to manage it. And all of that kind of ties into your mental state at the moment. Of course, you shouldn't always stay where you are. But I thought that was so interesting about, we kind of go through life in certain mental aspects, but then you reflect on your finances, and you're like, okay, I'm doing this right. Like, I'm making sure that physically I'm taking care of myself, and mentally, but when your finances is like
financial literacy is so important.
Absolutely.
So important.
We definitely don't teach that enough, like in our communities and stuff like that. And even being an entrepreneur?
And Angel Rich has a app for that's it's kind of, I forgot the name of it, so you just look it up. Google Angel Rich. She has an app that's kind of like,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
it's kind of like Candy Crush.
Yeah.
So it kind of teaches you about financial literacy. So look out for that if you kind of like trying to figure out, okay, what's assets, liabilities, things like that. There's also good books out there to read on that.
Yeah, it's just so important, you guys, like being an entrepreneur and learning to not only invest in your learning and the things that you grow through, but also financially, so that you can continue to be a better entrepreneur. You know, it's hard when you got when you like thinking about how this bill gonna get paid, but you also have to worry about this event you got to do, and worry about going to singing, and I mean, it's just one of the small things, and people think that it takes you got to make this amount of money in order to handle your finances. But you got to learn how to take $2 and save that 50 cents. You know what I'm saying?
or take $2 and make it 2,000.
Exactly. Correct. Exactly correct. But I do want to talk about, you had mentioned, you know, you were hit, like physically hit in your relationships. I don't want to go too deep into that. But if you did have some words for somebody that's kind of in that state of abuse, no matter what it is, mentally, physically, what would you say?
Well, first, this can go to somebody that's either going through physical abuse, emotional abuse. You may be going through abuse and have nobody in your life. You may be abusing yourself. So it all ties down to your mindset. You have people in your ear telling you what to do, but if you don't have the mind to do it, then you aren't going to be as strong as you want to be. And the thing about it, you're stronger than you even think you are. If you give a woman a pound of rice, she's going to create a meal that lasts for a whole year.
She sure is, y'all.
So it's all about your mindset. Get around people that are going to make you feel good. And a lot of times people say, oh, people aren't supposed to make you feel good. But when you have a mindset that is continuously been hit and continuously been told you're nothing, continuously, you know, make you feel like you're incomplete in your life when you know you've done everything right, you have to be around people that's going to pour into you, because getting beat and being hit and, you know, and your mindset has been broken down into absolutely nothing, you need something poured into you to build you back up so you can pour it back out to other people like I'm doing right now.
Yeah, that's real.
I encourage you to take this step. There are people around you. There are actually communities set aside for like Safe Alliance. There's some place called Safe Alliance. If you're located in Charlotte, North Carolina, reach out. They will give you free counseling. They also have a shelter there. There are different places that are labeled a safe place. Go there. You know, get out. If you have to, like, escape with nothing. And even if you're not even in an abusive relationship, you can use that mindset. If you're ready to quit your job and you have the finances set aside, jump out of it. If you feel like, oh my gosh, I feel horrible every time I go home, that's no different from an abusive relationship. You have to do what you know in your heart to do instead of thinking with your head all the time. And sometimes your head can tell you different from your heart. You got to be in tune with whatever's going on in there. Be in tune with it, because your body will tell you when it's time to go. So listen to yourself.
And that's a process. Like, all of those things are a process. It does take time, and I think now, like, we just live in such a society where everyone thinks that the result should be immediate, and that's not true. Like, you have to learn and grow and go through stuff. Like, you got to go through some stuff to figure out.
You have to.
Like, this ain't it. And then when you figure that out, it's like now you can identify that. And I don't think we talk enough about mental health too.
Yes, mental health is very important. I went through a really bad case of postpartum depression. I had my first child last year, and I went through a really bad case of postpartum depression, and a lot of times I would go to people and say, pray about it. But then I pray about it, and I did not feel better. So you have to really look up different things. If you have the energy, you have to talk to somebody, if that's someone you can confide in. And you have to take time out for yourself. Pick one thing that you enjoy doing, whether you're dealing with anxiety, depression, bipolar, anything that you're dealing with. Pick one thing that you like to do. And you may feel like, oh, there's nothing that I like to do. I hate everything.
Yeah.
There's one thing, even if it's eating a bag of Doritos. Now, don't eat too many Doritos, but there's something that you love to do, and do that one thing one time a day, because you have got to get yourself out of it. Seek help. Sometimes medicine does work. So if they created medicine, you might want to go ahead and take it. Trust God, but still take that medicine. So you find that one thing that's going to help you to get out of that. Because mental health, you can't take care of anybody else if you don't take care of yourself.
Facts.
You can't take care of a business if you don't take care of yourself. If your head is going crazy, guess what? Your business is going to do the same thing. Your business will follow. You're like, oh my goodness, I'm so busy, but you're busy doing nothing because you have a zero income, because your mindset isn't right. Absolutely. So mental health is extremely important, especially in the African American community, the Black community. Yeah. We're so ashamed and so afraid to even speak out about it, but don't be ashamed or be afraid, because there's a lot of people that's going through the same thing. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. And I mean, to be honest, like I was saying, all of those things take time, but you just have to get to a place, no matter what it is, like she said, pick that one thing, like just one thing, and just just do it. And I'm gonna be honest, I've had my episodes where you get depressed, you get down, because a lot of times we're looking ahead, and it's like, okay, I need to get this. I don't have that. If I don't get this, then that means I'm XYZ. But when we learn to appreciate what we have right now, and even that right there, like sometimes you have to be told that. You don't know that just organically, like, you know what, you need to be grateful. Like, you need to take in the moment right now. Sometimes we don't have people in our lives to tell us that. So, like she said, you have to take the initiative and go within yourself and say, okay, especially now that we got Google. I mean, literally anything that you have a question for, it's like, right there. Okay, just type in Google, like, yesterday I was feeling great. Why do I feel terrible right now? And they'll just give you all of these answers. Of course, you have to filter out and use your discernment, but
before you think you have cancer, be like, oh,
right. But it is so important, you guys, to take care of every aspect when you are an entrepreneur and a mom and a wife. You have so many different things pulling on you. You got to find that moment for yourself.
a.m., get up, brush my teeth, say a prayer, wash my face, do whatever else I got to do to my body. Then I'm opening up a book. So my book for this month is a book by John C. Maxwell, called Today Matters. Okay. So I open up my book, get my reading in about 15, 30 minutes, however much time I have allotted. Then I'm popping on a podcast and an audio. That right there is my me time, because I'm nurturing myself, I'm feeding myself with words, I'm getting myself ready with affirmations, I'm getting myself together mentally so I can be prepared for my day. Throughout the day, if the baby is asleep, because I am a stay-at-home mom, I try to find time, just to do a little bit of workout. Like if I'm holding her, work up, lift my legs up, just take like 5 minutes, or the moments that you can have for yourself, for your me time. Now that doesn't work for everybody else. That doesn't work for most people. A lot of people don't like to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning if they don't have to. But whatever works for you, even at nighttime, if I know she's asleep, 9 o'clock, I'll be like, hey, I'm going to go out. I'll go venture to meet new people. Networking is so important. Starting a conversation is important. But find out whatever works for your schedule. And the schedule is very important. Being an entrepreneur, a schedule is extremely important. And take out time to have your time, because you have to be a complete you. If you're a mom, to be a mom, a wife, a business person, a sister, whatever you have to be, whatever relationship in your life that you have, to be the best you have to have me time.
All of that was so loaded, y'all. My mind is like, okay, that was important. But one of the things I really wanted to point out with all that you said was, because of course, you know, I know a lot of moms that are like, that also want to be entrepreneurs, but they don't feel, first of all, confident enough, or they don't feel like they don't have enough time. And of course, energy, it's like, I don't have enough energy. Like, I'm taking care of 3 kids. How do I have enough energy to like get myself together and say, okay, at least for an hour a day, I want to take time for me to work on what I want to do, because you're pouring out so much. Like, what advice would you give a mom that wants to be an entrepreneur or start that business or whatever, but she just doesn't feel like she can do it?
Okay, so one thing I have to be honest, there is no time management with a mom. There's none. You have to manage your emotions and manage yourself, but there is no time management.
Yes.
A lot of people get that confused because you can't say, well, I have time management, because you really don't, because things happen.
Yes.
As a mom especially, things happen. The other day I was going to the car and my husband was in the car with the kid and she had poop all over herself. So that took out my time and what I was supposed to be doing something. So there's really no time management. You just have to prioritize what's most important to you. Okay.
Yeah.
Your why. Your why has to be so important to you that regardless if you are tired, if you feel like you are drained from your day, you're taking 1 minute out of how many minutes we have? Like 1,400 minutes in a day. You have to take out that time for yourself and be like, you know what? My day was crazy. I'm tired. I'm going to take 5 minutes out of my whole entire 24 hours and write down my business plan. Say, for instance, you don't have money to start a business because you're a mom and, you know, you have to spend, you can even be a single mom. You're a mom and you have to spend this money for daycare and you have to spend this money for gas and spend this money for food and you just don't have it. But you have a business plan. You have to plan something and be prepared for something before it even gets there. That's why you have a forecast. The day they give you 5 days ahead of time.
Just drop a bomb on that real quick.
Of what's going to be like. So you have your umbrella ready for the day because you already know it's going to rain.
True.
So you have to plan and prepare before it gets there. So as a mom, you cannot use it as an excuse. As a wife, you cannot use it as an excuse. No money, that's no excuse. Have your plan. No, there's so many different ways. You can brand yourself in so many different ways. That's another time to talk about that. But there's some different ways to make money, and there's so many different ways to have your plan and present it to somebody else, and then get an investor. You can even have your family to invest in you. But that's a whole other thing. Look into it now. Use the computer. Look into it. Research this information I'm giving you. But do not use an excuse to say, I'm a mom and I don't have any time. I can tell you the best way to do it. When you're tired, just do it. Look at your kids, look at your child, look at your baby and say, you know what, I don't want you to have to go through the same stress I'm going through. I don't want you to be tired and can't throw a ball with me, or, you know, I don't want you to be tired and can't play T with your child. So I'm paving the way for you. I'm going to write out my business plan, and even if I can't act it out, I can show it to you, and maybe you can live on a legacy. So you have to find your why and stop making excuses.
Did y'all hear that? That was balls right there. And I mean, all of that is just so true. And to me, I value mothers so much because you guys have so many things pulling on you. And so when someone comes to me that is single out here and has all these excuses, I'm like, how? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
No.
So for all of you mothers out there, like, it does. I'm sure it takes the extra strength for you guys to do it. But you said something so important. You was like, look at your kids, look at your family. You know, that is also the unselfish part of you saying, you know what, I'm not doing this for me. I am, but I'm not, because I have a legacy behind me that I want to push. So even still doing something for yourself is you're still doing it for them. And I mean, that just goes so deep. So for everybody out there who is single,
make a way, not an excuse.
Make a way, not an excuse. Drop the bombs on that, because I mean, it just blows my mind. And again, I get that everybody comes from different backgrounds, and your background also kind of sets your mentality for who you are. And if you come up in a single parent home and you saw your mother struggle so much, or even your father, people try to, there are single fathers out there, y'all, and they deserve their praise, but if those people that came from those homes, and you still have one or two options, you can either do it or you don't. You can use that as an excuse, or you can use it as your catapult to take you to a new level and say, you know what, I saw what happened to me and my family. I'm not going to let that happen to me and my future family. So there's always a choice. There's always options available. You know, I come from a home where both of my parents are still married to this day, and we had our ups and downs. We struggled when we came out of it. All of these things. I could be the kid that says, well, I didn't really have it that bad, so I'm just going to sit on my butt and not do anything because, you know, it wasn't rough for me, it's cool, da-da-da. But I made the choice to say, I can't just sit here and not do anything. I need to do something with my life. So, long story short, y'all, all of my entrepreneurs, single mothers, single fathers, a person that is single regardless, anybody that's married, the bottom line is you guys can do it. It just takes, some people it takes extra strength. Some people, honestly, you might get mad, but for some people it's effortless. You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is the choice is yours to do what you're called to do. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. And I like to piggyback on that too.
Yeah.
How you were talking about how, you know, different, whatever your background is, you can't really hold that and say, you know, this is why I'm not, or this is why, you know, I haven't. My grandfather is a celebrity. Rest in heaven. He's a celebrity. I have family members who are celebrity. Yeah. I have friends that are celebrities. But am I a celebrity?
Yeah. To be.
But I'm not a celebrity. I know I'm exposed to all of this life, but that's not my life because I didn't choose that life. But the life I am choosing for myself is my path. Their paths aren't my paths. I can't say, well, I know this person, I know that person. They don't have anything to do with my finances. They're not paying my bills.
That's facts.
So my background has nothing to do with my life if I choose to let it not do anything with my life. You know what I'm saying? I can't go around going like, well, I'm the granddaughter of, you know, this person, so I should be entitled to this. You're not entitled to anything you have not worked for. Even if your parents have.
Drop the bombs on that too.
Even if your parents have set up an estate for you, if you're not worked for it, you're really not even going to do anything but let it go downhill because you're not going to increase it. It's going to decrease. So have a mindset of saying, you know what, this happened in the past. This is what I'm exposed to, but I know what I want for my life, and I'm going to go up. I'm going to meet the bar and then exceed on it.
Yeah. And of course, this show is targeted towards entrepreneurs, but if you are happy and whole with just taking care of your family, going to your 9 to 5, and you happy about that.
Everybody's not an entrepreneur.
That's exactly right. If you're happy about that, and you're like, look, my family taken care of, I got a good job, that's it. Like, that is the sole purpose. You have to learn to fill yourself up because all of these external things, they kind of just enhance, and they've just been enhancing what's already inside of you. You know what I mean?
And you have to be sure to protect your energy, guard your heart, protect yourself. A lot of time people protect their assets, but then forget to protect themselves. A lot of people are around people that they shouldn't even be around, and you start feeling a certain way like, man, I feel down. I don't feel right. I don't feel like myself, and your mindset starts going all crazy. Or even, you know, scrolling through Facebook, scrolling through Instagram, you see somebody else's life, and you're like, I'm so far behind, but not realizing behind closed doors, they're like, you know, stuck and crying, you know, while posting something. So you have to take care of yourself. You have to realize the beauty in your brokenness. You have to realize that your mindset needs to be protected above all else, because a clear mindset, a healthy mental state is the best gift you can give to a loved one and the best gift you can give to yourself.
So many parts of that. I mean, so many parts of that. And it's like, Yes, you have to guard all of those things. And one of the things that really hurts me, because the generation that's behind us is so social media consumed.
Yes.
And when you begin to compare your life to people, especially on social media, where the highlight of social media is to highlight parts of your life, and you don't really get to see the other end of what's behind the person with the phone. And it's like we have these young people that are looking at all of this glory, and they say, well, that person has it, but I don't have it, so maybe I'm not worth it, or maybe I'm not worthy of it. And it hurts me, because I just want people to know that that's not reality. I posted something on my Instagram, I think a couple of days ago, where it's like I share like 2% of my life with people, because like you said, you gotta guard it. You just can't know everything.
Everything about everybody.
It's not your place. It's my place to allow you in. But I want these young people to know, like, bro, that's not real. Like, it's not real as in a sense of 24/7. You will have your ups and downs, and you never compare your life to someone else's life. I mean, that's literally like taking an apple and an orange and saying, well, I'm an apple, but I want to be an orange.
What I call it is bird nest mentality. You look at somebody's bird nest, a bird chirping outside, you look at the bird nest, oh, that's a pretty bird nest, oh my gosh, I wish I had that bird nest. But never even take the opportunity to go out every morning and get twig by twig, daily by daily, because it takes a lot. It takes a lot to be a bird and fly out and have to get twig by twig by twig by twig by twig. You want it so bad, and you think, oh my gosh, it's so easy because it's so beautiful and it's crafted so nicely and it's withholding through the storm, but not realizing what that bird even had to go through to get that nest.
Drop the bombs on that too.
So it's like stop looking at what you see. Detox yourself from social media. I had to do it. Detox yourself from social media, because you get so caught up in what's going on that you lose who you are and you become weak. You become very weak. So detox yourself. Take 30 days, take 10 days, take 5 days. Look, take an hour, whatever it is.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching this first episode of mine. It was such a blast to edit, to film, to talk to Miss Naomi about all of her struggles that she had to overcome to get to where she is now. There is a segment called Note to My 21-Year-Old Self that I like to ask all of my guests, because I think that at the age of 21, we really kind of fall into the knowing of who we are and kind of not understanding where we want to go. So I thought it was a cool segment to include, and here is what Miss Naomi had to say to her 21-year-old self. Don't internalize every challenge. Forgive the past. Take the risk of failing to find what you'll succeed in. Sometimes no means no right now. If you want to know something, simply ask. The worst that can happen is an answer you're not quite expecting. Invest in yourself. That is Miss Naomi Hall's note to her 21-year-old self. I want to thank Miss Naomi. I want to thank you all for following, subscribing, liking this video, even taking the time out to watch it. So if you got to the end of the video, man, I appreciate it so much, because these conversations go deep and I never really want to cut them short and chop it up and, make it a limp to where make it less than what it actually is. So thank you guys again. If you'd like to be a sponsor on this channel, I would absolutely recommend that you do it right now. It's very inexpensive. So if you want more information on that, please simply send me an email, Jamey@imageoutcome.com, and that's Jamey, Jamey, @imageoutcome.com, and I'll be sure to get with you as soon as I can. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. I hope to see you all next time. Peace.